I got 100 games here. We're going to make a pickup video, man. Answer the phone, Connor. Answer the phone. Hey, what's going on? Just thinking we should make a pickup video, man.
I don't live there anymore.
I mean, we can figure out some way to do it. It's been like 3 months. We haven't done one since Christmas. We should do it. I got about like 100 games here.
I'm a filmmaker now. I don't care about no stupid video games no more.
What's wrong with video games? You like video games? I love video games.
I am no longer a child. I have became a man.
I mean,
A man.
what are you, some sort of artiste now, are you?
Yes.
Well, Jesus, you got me into it. I kind of like making them. That's too bad. I would look forward to it.
Make your own channel then.
I can't make my own channel.
Why can't you?
Yeah, I suppose. Maybe I can.
Then make one.
Should I just go ahead and do it?
I've been telling you to make one. Just make the channel.
What do you think? Should I make one?
Make the channel.
Make the channel. Let's make the channel.
No, you're gonna make the channel.
All right. Hopefully I can do it.
Pete, I say just go for it!
Brother! Do it, Pete!
Your son's a piece of shit!
No one likes him!
Connor, you smell!
You're okay!
Like Jordan!
I don't smell!
It stinks!
That's not
God
true.
damn, he stinks!
You guys are just lying!
Pete!
Pete! Do it!
It's
Pete.
about you, Pete. I want you to do what you do. Pete.
I don't stink!
Pete, you can fucking do it. You got all the talent in the family.
Hey guys, I'm Yesei Asha from the Rebel Gaming Club. I just got the papers in the mail so that Papa Pete can adopt me and finally get the son he always wanted. Go get him, Papa Pete!
Where are we?
You know what? I'm going to do it. Chrissy, I'm going to make my own YouTube channel.
Oh, that's nice, dear.
Oh, and we're adopting Yesei Asha. He's coming to live with us next week.
Oh, that's great, great. Wait, what?
Papa Pete, the old ass gamer. Papa Pete, the old ass gamer. If you haven't grown up by the age of 50, you don't have to.
Hey guys, Papa Pete, the old guy gamer here. I just thought I'd make a little video to tell you about how I came to have this video, how I came to have this channel. What inspired me to sort of start doing this, because you know, here I am, damn near 50 years old, and decided to make a YouTube channel on video games. Well, it's not that new of an idea for me, really. I sort of got my my start way back when I was a kid. It's something that I've always loved. I've always loved video games. I've always loved making videos, and I've also always loved collecting. First and foremost, I've always loved collecting. So I thought I'd tell a bit of the background about how this came to be. Well, first of all, back when I was about 6 or 7 years old, I can remember my brother always had a reel-to-reel tape machine. I don't know if anybody, maybe you've never seen one, but it was the old stock, great big box. It had the coiled tape that would roll through the recording device back onto the other spool. Anyway, I used to take those when I'd say I was 6, 7, 8, and I'd make variety shows, whether it was reading books or playing music or doing skits. I'd make them audio only. And I don't know what inspired me to do it. I don't know really what started me doing it, but I can remember making like 3 or 4 of these, and I'm talking like 1 hour long, 2 hour long tapes in the living room at my home. And I really wish I still had them today, because it'd be pretty funny. But I really enjoyed doing things like that. So this all sort of led into it. Well, then later on, when I was a teenager, my brother-in-law, who was really a big influence on my life with video games and with video recording and such, he worked for a cable company, and he had a lot of equipment for recording and doing local television stations and things like that. Well, one of the things he had that we just played with a little tiny bit, of course, remember, this is about 1982, 1983, were broadcasting devices. They're analog broadcasting devices that you could play a tape or hook a camera up and record, or basically take the photos and you could broadcast it across the airwaves on midband between channel 6 and channel 7. If you had a television that could tune into this midband, you could actually pick it up. So we were broadcasting it over a certain area. Okay, it wasn't a huge radius. We didn't do it very much. Basically just play with it to see if we could do it. But it always gave me a little bit of a bug of wanting to make my own station. Now, it's sort of neat to see where we've come today, where we have things like YouTube, and anybody can do this. And it's something that I dreamed about doing when I was a teenager, a young teenager, and the technology just wasn't there. Well, now the technology is there, so I'm going to try to make videos. I've always liked putting shows and stuff like that together. So next comes video games. Again, my brother-in-law, I mentioned before, was a big influence in my life. I grew up playing video games. When I was about 6 or 7, I got the very first Pong machine. That's where I started, was Pong. The dedicated console with like 4 games on it. And we played that for hours with the old black and white TV. Well, later after that, I can remember my brother-in-law got a Coleco Telstar. If you haven't seen that, it's Telstar Combat by Coleco, actually, is what it's called. And it had 2 handles on each side, the black tank and the white tank, and you had to sit side by side. You could control the tank with the controllers to shoot. Basically, it was combat for the Atari, except for it was a dedicated system. It was really pretty neat at the time. Amazing the advancements, and he'd go out and buy things like this. Well, shortly after that, I got an Atari for Christmas. I think it was 1980. I'm quite sure it was Christmas 1980. I got my first Atari VCS. And I've been hooked on Atari ever since. I mean, that was my system. I was 11 years old. I started off by getting quite a few games, and I just loved it. I always had the bug for video games ever since. Shortly after I got my Atari, he went out and got it on television. My brother-in-law did. And that's why I have such a big history. I spent a lot of time with them growing up. And my sister and my brother-in-law were about 25 years... when he was about 25, I was around 11. So he was just sort of getting into it. He'd go out and buy these things. I can remember him buying the Intellivision at the time. 1980, again it was. I think it might have been 81 by then. $275. $275 was a friggin' fortune in 1981. But he went out and got it. He'd go out about every couple of weeks. He'd always go out to get a new game. And he would, I think at the end of it, he probably had 40 or 50 games. And all the classics, Sea Battle, baseball, all the different sports titles, Dungeons & Dragons, all those titles. He had everything. And it was amazing. Oh, the Intelliboys. The 4 Intelliboys games was B-17 Bomber, Bomb Squad, Space Spartans. What's the other one? Tron Solar Sailor. Classic games. And I acquired probably about 30 or 40 Atari games, while I was growing up, birthdays and Christmas and such. Anyway, so I always loved video games. Now, the next step is collecting. I have always been a collector. I got the bug when I was a little kid watching Sesame Street, and I saw my first episode of Ernie and Bert, and it was Bert and his bottle cap collection. He was trying to collect the Figgy Fizz. I don't know, ever since that day when I saw that, I knew I had to collect. I think collecting's in your blood. I think it's something that you have to do. I don't know if it's OCD or just a habit or what it is, but since that day, I started off by collecting bottle caps. After that, I started collecting hockey cards, baseball cards, books, movies. One time, I even collected for probably about 6 or 8 months, I collected empty cigarette packages. I don't understand that one, but that's what I did. I had probably 150 of them, too, different types of cigarettes. Later years, I sort of broke off a little bit. Of course, I collected video games, but video games are pretty expensive for a kid to try to collect, so it was a difficult thing to do. Now, later years, after I got to university, got through university, had a little bit of money of my own, I got a few more video games, but then, of course, along come kids. And when kids come along, the priorities change, so those collections, the video games, get put to the back burner. Until, I'd say, about 4 or 5 years ago. Kids started to get older. I started collecting autographs about that time. I still had some autographs from when I was a kid, and I got into mailing and sending autographs away. So I've always collected things. My whole life. So about 4 years ago, my son started getting more and more into the video game scene. He started seeing the retro games, and these were the games that I liked. So it was more and more of a thing we could do together, so we started collecting the games together. He had his collection, I had my collection, because I was lucky enough to still have most of the things from my youth, including my original Atari. It's broken, but I still have it, as well as the Intellivision that was my brother-in-law's that he bought back in 1981. and pretty much all of his games. Most of my games went because I left all the boxes for them in my closet at home, and unfortunately my mother threw them out. It's too bad. I would love to have them, but that's the nature of the beast. That's what happened to these things back then. Anyway, so about 3 or 4 years ago, I got back into the collecting aspect in the video games with my son. And we worked away at it, and it's just something to do in common for a few years. And then he started making the YouTube videos. And you probably noticed about 1.5 years ago, I started doing a few pickup videos with him. And I really enjoyed it. And it bled back into the old shows and the variety shows that I used to make. So I was starting to really enjoy these videos, and he decided that he was going to go off to school. Imagine that. Well, you know, of course, that's a great thing. But I said, when he was coming home, I kept saying, you know, well, we should do a video. We should do a video. And finally, he just said, do your own friggin' video. There's nothing to keep you from doing it. You know what to say. You know what to do. You love these games. You love collecting. Just talk about it. Just talk about it, and people will talk about it with you. You'll learn more and more, and you'll just have a lot of fun doing it. So you know what? At the end of the day, that's what I decided to do. I decided to start my own channel. I'm going to talk about pickups. I'm going to do some reviews on some of the classic games from my youth, because those are the ones I want to talk about. You're not going to see me doing reviews for Switch games and Xbox One games, because that's not my thing. My thing were the games of yesterday. The Atari 2600s, the Intellivisions, the ColecoVisions, even the NES, or even maybe the Genesis. But the older ones, the older the better for me. I'm Papa Pete, the old guy gamer, not Papa Pete, the new guy gamer. And I'm not going to start doing newer things just for the sake of doing new items, newer consoles and newer games. I'm going to stick with the stuff that I know best and that I have the most passion for, which are the games from back when I was a kid. Anyway, I'm going to have a lot of fun making these videos. I hope that you have some fun watching them. If you do, great. I'm going to make them more, and I hope you really enjoy them. And you know what? If people don't watch them, I still enjoy making them. I'm going to keep putting them out. If a handful of people like watching them, I'm more than happy to keep doing it. Anyway, until next time, see if I get some reviews together, do some more pickup videos. Thanks a lot for taking 5 or 10 minutes of your time and spending it with me. I appreciate anybody who watches my videos. Don't forget to hit the like button if you liked it, subscribe if you feel like it, and don't leave a comment, please, because I love talking about old video games. If you have any questions, I love to answer them, or any suggestions of what I could do in the future with the channel. Thank you very much. This is Papa Pete, the old guy gamer. Take care, guys.
If you haven't grown up by the age of 50, you don't have to.
You're watching Papa Pete, the old guy gamer.
What the hell?
And me, I like bottle caps.